Alrighty guys, okay, look, we're gonna go ahead and I hope you guys are doing good today. This is relatively early. I'm gonna take off my glasses because apparently there's a huge ass glare and I don't like it. I'm gonna go ahead and address something that's been bothering the shit out of me for the last couple of years with YouTube, mostly with the women of YouTube. And, I want to go ahead and it's not an unusual problem. I think I understand why a lot of women are really obsessed with this, especially women in comedy, is because of certain situations, and it's really because of the way that our society is changing. I think it has brought up a lot of. I'm sorry, I'm trying to rub a crackling out of my eye. Women a lot ever since it became a thing. So I wanted to go ahead and address that real quickly. And basically, it has to initially originate with the fact that we're accepting alternate lifestyles. And this is generally affecting the heterosexual community, not really the homosexual community, because this is pretty much standard fare for them. It's basically with two men. Homosexual relations culminate in the advancement up to anal coitus is basically what they do. And I know I'm sounding like a medical textbook, but there are two factors in our society that created this problem that you generally are now really nervous about when you're with men for the first time and getting to know them. And the first of this is the homosexual revolution that has taken place and the acceptance of them as a general practice, and the fact that in the 80s and 90s women were whining all the time about being unsatisfied in sex. Again, that kind of ties into each other. And so basically what started happening was there was a lot of talk about what is known as a G-spot, which those of you that are not familiar with this is basically what happened was women were not being satisfied by vanilla style sex. Well, I'll be honest with you, that's usually the best sex to have, and it's the one that generally we end up having. We could talk about lesbians and fisting at another time that really has nothing to do with the anal sex, so we're not going to really go into that. But to go into that from here, there are two subjects that are really freaking out women right now, and they do sneak it in as jokes in their stuff. And the first one is anal sex with a heterosexual partner, and a finger in the behind apparently is another real touch point. Well, again, to start off with let's start with the simpler one. Let's talk about the finger in the butt. Okay. So after several years of being harassed about not being able to satisfy you in bed, men started doing research, and so did women. And actually, a lot of women were showing research. I think there was like Women on Top, and there were different books that were written by women about their sexual experiences and what they found stimulating. And it turned out that there is a nerve center in the body around the bladder area that will stimulate this feeling of during sex, and it's used not only to tell when you need to go potty, but also when you are being stimulated sexually. So what it turns out is there are two places where that can actually occur, and one is the front and the other is the back. And so what seems to be happening is because of the style of of us men, we generally want to do our very, very best, and we're always striving to be our best. And so what men have acquired is this attempt to try to stimulate you as high as possible, because see, as men, when we ejaculate, it's like, oh, and we want that. And women, of course, behave differently, but again, we're running on the fact that we're men and we don't really understand how women work, especially when we're first trying these things out. So for us, we are trying to be the best we can be. And the reason why this is, and I know women do not believe this, it's the general consensus that men all hate us and want to kill us, but honestly, men really want women to always be happy, especially when we're having sex with you. Um, you know, because that's just the way we are. Some of the downsides to the anal sex, it really wears up the behind. It really does. It messes it up. And um, you've seen the mangina, I'm sure, if you've watched any porn. I'm sure. Yeah, of course. Nobody that's listening to this has ever watched porn at all and has no idea what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, right. But basically, if you love your woman, which all of us men who are trying to stick around with you after we have sex the first time, there's another reason why we're hanging out with you. Um, is because we want to be with you. We want you to be happy, and we want you to, and we do want to have continual sex, but that's not the most important thing of the relationship. So I figure it's gonna, and if nothing else, when you pass gas, if your behind's all worn out, you're not gonna. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to make a 30-minute joke about how you farted. Let's just face it. That is not something that I personally go seeking after women with. Okay. Like I said, the farthest I'd go probably is the finger behind thing, and I would definitely make sure she's okay with that before you do that. That's what they suggested in all the books. I'm just telling you out there, you don't want to just surprise them with it. Okay. That's going to lead to a very serious discussion. Okay. Like I said again, that finger situation is more like the base. What it is stimulating the. Of course, you don't just jab it in there. You actually go towards the bladder. So I mean, that's what makes it work. Basically, the reason why we push so hard to try to stimulate you as much as possible is because it's the same concept of the bromance. We want you to be with us. You're our bro, although it's like way higher level tier of that. Because we're intimate with you. And I know from my own experience, hooking into a front port for a woman, I spirit walk, so I can take that to a really high level. So vanilla sex for me is perfectly, and that's really the only thing I ever push. Um, let's see. Yeah, I told about love. Maybe I should go kick a baby now. Let's see. So that's basically it in a nutshell. This was going to be way funnier in my head than it was, but hopefully, I'm hoping that this helps women who apparently seem to have a very obscure concept of what men in relationships with them are about. We really honestly don't want to kill you. I know that that's the instinct, but we really want you to be happy when we're with you. I mean, that really is, and when we don't do that, we don't accomplish that, we're like, I failed you, I'm no good. But we keep that shit all inside because we're not fucking women. So, as you can see, I'm trying very hard to be helpful. I'm gonna go do a man thing now because all this emotional talk about feelings and about sex and about has made me a little bit creeped out myself. So I'm gonna go, but hopefully this will help you, ladies. We're not really, when all these things are going down, we're not just trying to hurt you or use you or treat you poorly. There's a percentage of men that do that, but they're actually relatively small. Most men who are seriously considering you as a mate do not want you to be anything but enjoy it with sex. In fact, I've actually stopped sometimes when I realized my partner was not happy. So I'm just letting you know that that's the way it is. So okay. This wasn't a creepy discussion. I hope you guys are doing well, and I hope to God to never have to talk about sex on this internet shit again. Yeah, let's go do a man thing.